Hello, this is Eddie with EddieMakes.com, and today we are talking about the best photo editing software. And as you can see, I have Adobe Lightroom open, and because I don't like suspense, I'm just going to go ahead and say I love Adobe Lightroom. It's perfect for weddings and batch editing or just editing a whole bunch of photos at once. And even just one photo, if you want to mess with one photo, it's really intuitive and fun to work with. And this is actually a picture of my grandfather. There's my mother and my uncle. But I just edited this pretty quickly, and I got rid of a bunch of issues with it. Check out all these things that I took out. And they're just magically gone. Let's take a look. Let me make a virtual copy. And we'll play around with it. So here's a really quick tour of why I love Lightroom. Oop, let me undo that. So, zooming in, let's take a look at this area. This is called the healing brush. And if I turn it off, all of a sudden you see all this muck. Getting rid of this thing right here was as easy as making this big enough, clicking and dragging to a spot that's clean, and then letting go. That's it. It's just gone. And I did that for all of these just by clicking, dragging, letting go, clicking, dragging, letting go. Past that, I cropped it. I actually filled in the bottom down here too, because it was a circular crop, so I wanted to make that look right. So I just copied some information. Take a look at the circles I copied. Oop. And it's just amazing. Past that, we went with the temperature. I warmed it up a bit. You can pick anywhere you want. If you want just real world, or if you want it a little bit warmer. And then the tint. Everything's just so accessible. Check a look at this exposure and watch this histogram as it goes. Gives you all the information you need. Of course, I rarely look at that unless I'm trying to figure out whether I'm blowing things out or not. But it's a lot of fun to play with, and it's got, check this out, highlights. You can turn down the highlights without turning down everything else. You can just turn down the highlights. So look at this, see all these whites right here? Watch up here. I'm going to turn down the highlights and watch what happens to them. Just that section decides to fall. So then, and then look at their faces. First they're maybe a little too blown, and then it's all recovered. Super fun. Double click to bring it back to the center. Bring the shadows up sometime. Sometimes you think you want to raise the exposure, but that just makes it look washed out. I actually ended up turning down the exposure with this photo and turning up the shadows. And that's, watch this section, that's just bringing that section up. So on and on, you can change the whites, the blacks, the clarity is fun. That's a fun little thing. Look at that. It's amazing what it can do. Vibrance, which is actually different than saturation. So it's good to have the option. Tone curve, both, Luma, which is everything, RGB, and then just separate it out. If you want to mess with if you want to mess with just the lower part of the reds and the upper part of the blues, you can do it. This is new in Lightroom 4, so that's really cool. I'm actually gonna put that back because I just made it look horrible. Or I'll just bypass it. Then going here, luminance of every single color. It's amazing what you can do with this software. Now, of course, I don't spend all this time, doing all this on every single photo, but it's super powerful. You can actually click here too, and then click and drag, and target very specific areas. So if you want to, say, well, I want that blue to be different. Come down here, click the blue, And then all of a sudden you can see it's pulling blue. It's also pulling magenta and purple because those are a part of that blue. Let me turn that off and move on. Split toning, I don't use this a whole bunch, but it's fun. Let me try to do it quickly. And I'm just making it look horrible, but you get the idea. Highlights are blue, shadows are red, pink. Moving on, sharpness, this is good. This is a good thing. And then, oh my gosh, the noise reduction tool is friggin' amazing. Now in this kind of picture, it's not showing it, you know, as good as you can, but just take a look at, you know, I left the grain in because I liked it, but take a look at all this grain and just look at how this smooths it out. Now obviously you lose some sharpness in the meantime, but it is amazing what that does for some certain shots. It's just it's unbelievable. And then the color, I don't think I can show you an example of this. This is when it's like red, green, and blue. In where the blacks are, it shows red, green, and blue. Let me see. Can I find an area that has that? No, I'm sorry, I can't. But this is amazing. This is an amazing tool. So, lens corrections. Oh my gosh, you can get rid of chromatic aberration, which is like the you know, around windows. If it's got like a little green fringe kind of thing, you can get rid of that fringe automatically. You can mess with the shape of the, where is it? The shape of the picture if you want, if there's some distortion, you just mess with it just like this. And then sometimes with some lenses there's vignetting too, so just based on the lens it automatically changes. And then of course the old vignette, which you can modify any way you want. Roundness, how much do you want it to feather off, or do you want it to just snap? And then obviously I'm making it look horrible, but you get the point. Adding grain, of course, in this picture we do not need to add grain at all, but it just gives a lot more character to some photos. The size and the roughness you can change. So it is just fantastic what you can do with this thing. And then past that, there's certain profiles that you can pick. I have a few plugins, something called VSCO Cam. But as you can see here, there's, you know, you can change the color really easily. And then some of these have profiles over, will affect this. And they'll, right now, since I'm not using a Canon picture, it's not doing what I want it to do. But it'll unlock certain parts of Lightroom that aren't even accessible because they're kind of in the background. But it's just amazing. And then just the fact, you know, going through images, you can flag images really, really quickly. So if you did a wedding of 4,000 images, you can get through and just, you know, flag, unflag, and just burn through a whole bunch of images at once. With Photoshop, you have to open every single one and close every single one. And with this, they're all open. You just click to the side and you're good. And you never click save. It's whatever changes you make, they're automatically saved. So that is my vote for the coolest, best photo editing software. You should totally try it. I bet you anything there's a free demo you can try. Please download it and just mess with it, play around with it, and ask me if you have any questions. Hope you learned something. Bye.